Roughly 3/4 of knowledge workers report using AI tools at work today. Nearly half of those people started in just the last 6 months. It creates a dizzying sensation of acceleration, as if the ground is shifting under our desks. That specific feeling of economic vertigo is entirely real. We have also lived through it before, exactly 100 years ago. The popular memory of the 1920s is dominated by flapper dresses, jazz clubs, and bootleggers. Beneath that Kulturkleidung, the American economy was undergoing a massive, violent industrial reshuffle. This chart shows the classic economic model for technological adoption. An invention putters along as a novelty on this flat baseline, gets adopted by the wealthy, and then rapidly accelerates through the general population before finally leveling off. The mathematical anomaly of the 1920s is that several major inventions simultaneously hit the steepest part of their adoption phases. From 1920 to 1929, electrical generation grew over 300%. Automobile ownership tripled to 23 million, and household radios went from 0 to 12 million. A genuine technological revolution is the chaotic societal effect of multiple adoption curves crashing into each other at the exact same time. Whole industries vanished from the ledger, while others materialized from the wreckage, scaling at speeds the market had never seen. We tend to think of these technological booms as abstract or digital. History shows they are heavily dependent on pouring concrete and running copper wire. The automobile spawned an entire ecosystem of asphalt and steel. By 1929, the country had to build 60,000 new auto repair shops, lay down tens of thousands of miles of paved rural roads, and invent the roadside motel. 1 in 8 American workers held a job in an auto-related trade. The spillover pattern is repeating today in the exact same way. In 2024, AI activity predated over 110,000 new construction jobs. To build the physical backbone of the cloud, the U.S. faces a projected shortfall of 400,000 construction workers, electricians, and HVAC technicians by 2033. Look at this hyperscale data center aisle. The primary bottleneck for the current tech expansion is not the software algorithms driving the machines. It is the extreme electrical consumption required to keep them running. During a high-tech boom, the safest and most lucrative economic bet often sits in the physical trades required to build its infrastructure. The boring jobs adjacent to the disruption tend to pay better and last far longer than the glamorous roles at the center. The paradox of these periods is that the immense wealth generation at the national level inherently masks the destruction of individual livelihoods. The 1920 census counted 221,000 blacksmiths in America. By the end of the decade, the trade had virtually vanished from urban areas. At the exact same time, the tens of thousands of icemen who delivered blocks to household iceboxes watched their trade collapse with the mass production of the electric refrigerator. The chill those workers felt is currently creeping into modern white-collar roles. Customer service representatives, data entry clerks, and junior copywriters are watching the economic ground shift as generative models absorb their daily tasks. And artificial intelligence does not have to produce perfect work to compress the entry-level job ladder. It simply has to be cheaper and faster for businesses executing routine data processes. The economy produced abundant new work in the 1920s, but those new jobs rarely went to the same people doing the same things. Aggregate societal prosperity offers no financial refund to the specific specialist whose daily tasks are suddenly automated. Scaling a physical technology without rules creates chaos. In 1915, there were roughly 6,600 motor vehicle fatalities in the U.S. By 1925, that number vaulted past 21,000. The roads were effectively a slaughterhouse. The societal response was civic invention. The creation of the standardized traffic light, speed limits, and licensing exams eventually drove fatality rates down by 90% over the century. The messy, contested rollout of modern AI legislation today serves the exact same function. Rules let the industry mature without breaking society, but physical dangers are often easier to spot than financial ones. As new technologies reorganize daily life, they generate speculative financial manias. This chart plots the market trajectory of Radio Corporation of America. RCA was the dominant hardware and broadcast network of its day. Retail investors bought the stock on 10-to-1 margin loans, driving the price up on a dizzying 350-fold run to its peak. Then the leverage broke. RCA collapsed from its peak all the way down to $2.62. It was a 98% wipeout that effectively erased the savings of an entire generation. Look at the structural ingredients of the market today: massive concentration in a handful of top AI equities, heavy retail leverage, and the persistent belief that the old rules of valuation no longer apply. Radio truly did change the shape of the world, and RCA still went down 98. If you look closely at the individuals who survived the cataclysms of the 1920s and 30s, one specific decision stands out above the rest. In 1910, fewer than 10% of 18-year-olds graduated high school. By 1940, a massive, deliberate spike in enrollment, known as the high school movement, ensured that a majority of 18-year-olds held a diploma. This was a direct response to the economy. Electrified factories and modern telephone exchanges abruptly rewarded workers who possessed literacy, accounting skills, and basic engineering knowledge at unprecedented rates. Systematically upgrading your human capital through education acts as a firewall. It is the ultimate protective buffer against a violent labor reshuffle. The modern equivalent of that 1920s high school diploma is a baseline literacy in AI tools, combined with a durable, specialized skill. The tradesperson certifications in industrial automation and electrical work are mid-level, highly accessible, and highly protected. Generative models reward employees who can evaluate outputs critically and manage complex probabilistic systems. At the exact same time, they systematically punish those who rely solely on routine, middle-layer tasks. We have to distinguish between the long-term utility of the tool and the short-term hype of the stock ticker. Surviving a technological revolution does not require you to predict the future. It requires moving toward the infrastructure spillovers, continuously updating your skills, and recognizing that the pattern for navigation has already been written.